What if I told you that tonight, before your head hits the pillow, you could do something so simple, yet so powerful, that it would begin to recode your reality by morning? What if I told you that this technique is not new, not a trend, and not a hack, but an ancient metaphysical practice shared by one of the most mysterious and powerful spiritual teachers of the 20th century? Neville Goddard didn't just teach you to visualize, he taught you how to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, a practice so potent it turns your imagination into the architect of your world. You've been taught that life is happening to you, that your circumstances, your bank account, your relationships are all based on chance, effort, or luck. But Neville shattered all of that. He said, "You are the operant power. In other words, you're not a pawn in this game. You are the game maker. And what you do in that sacred space between waking and sleeping, that's where your real power is activated." Most people waste this window. They scroll, they worry, they replay the past. But you're here, and that means you're about to discover what to do instead. What Neville called SATS, a state akin to sleep. SATS is the golden bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind. It's that drowsy, hazy moment when you're relaxed, vulnerable, and your subconscious is wide open, ready to accept new beliefs, new truths, and new realities. Imagine this. You're lying in bed, the lights are off, the world is quiet, and instead of thinking about unpaid bills, broken relationships, or that text they never replied to, you enter SATS. And in that state, you create a new scene. You're holding the keys to your dream home. You're waking up next to someone who loves you deeply. You're opening an email that says, "Congratulations, the funding has been approved." And you don't just see this, you feel it, you sink into it, as if it's already yours, because it is. Now, before we go deeper, stop. If this is resonating with you, if you feel that spark of truth in your gut, like, yes, this is what I've been missing, then don't just watch passively. Hit the subscribe button right now so you never miss a drop of this power-packed content rooted in Neville's teachings and hidden metaphysical truths. And share this video with someone who needs to remember their power. This isn't just a feel-good idea. This is mental alchemy. It's the lost art of manifestation, and if the world practiced this one technique every night, we'd wake up in a very different world. And if you're ready to go even deeper, to receive guided SATS sessions, step-by-step visualizations, and insider secrets Neville never published publicly, then click the link in the description to sign up for the Reality Shift Vault. This is our private community for conscious creators who are done playing small and ready to manifest on command. Don't let your desires sit in your imagination unused. Neville said, "Imagination is God." It's time you treated it like the divine tool it is. Now, let's talk about how to enter SATS correctly, because most people get it wrong. It's not about repeating empty affirmations. It's not about forcing yourself to believe harder. It's about relaxing, receiving, and experiencing. Neville said the feeling is the secret, not the words. That means your focus should be on crafting a scene that implies your desire has already been fulfilled. And here's the mistake most people make. They choose scenes that are too big, too complex, or too unbelievable to their current state. Instead, you want something simple, but emotionally potent. For example, if your desire is financial freedom, don't visualize winning the lottery. Visualize looking at your bank account and seeing a number that makes you feel secure. Then feel that emotion: security, relief, gratitude. If you're manifesting love, don't imagine the whole wedding. Imagine sitting on the couch, watching a movie with your partner, your head on their shoulder, feeling seen and safe. Simplicity is power. Emotion is the fuel. And repetition is the key. Because remember, the subconscious mind is not logical. It doesn't care what's real. It accepts whatever is felt consistently. You're not lying to yourself. You're reprogramming yourself. You're reclaiming the steering wheel of your inner world. Neville's teachings aren't just metaphysical fluff. They are grounded in the laws of consciousness, laws that govern every event, opportunity, and coincidence you've ever experienced. How many times have you gone to sleep rehearsing problems? Worrying about tomorrow? Cursing what went wrong today? That's unconscious manifestation. And the results? More of the same. But now you know better. You know that sleep is not just rest. It is creation time. The sacred moment when the veil is thin and you're closest to your divine self. And tonight, you get to choose what world you wake up in. In just a moment, I'm going to walk you through a powerful, step-by-step SATS walkthrough, the exact process I use every night that has shifted not only my finances, but my relationships, my confidence, and my peace of mind. But before we dive into that, there's something else Neville said, something that most people overlook, and it's the key to making this work faster and deeper than you ever thought possible. He said, "Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live." Think about that for a moment. He didn't say, "Work harder and everything will improve." He didn't say, "Wait for the universe to bless you." He said, "Change your self-concept." Because your external world is nothing but a mirror, a perfect reflection of what you accept to be true about you. If you walk through life identifying as broke, abandoned, unlucky, or not the kind of person things work out for, guess what? That identity gets mirrored back to you in every area: money, love, opportunity. But here's the secret. You don't change that identity by affirming in the mirror all day. You change it by impressing a new self-concept upon the subconscious in the language it understands: feeling, imagery, repetition, and the most potent moment to do that is in the state akin to sleep. So imagine it. Tonight, you're lying in bed. Instead of scrolling through social media or thinking about how much you didn't get done, you close your eyes, you breathe in, and with your exhale, you let your body go limp. You're not quite awake, but not fully asleep. You're floating in between. This is SATS. Now you begin to see a scene, but more importantly, you feel it. You're sitting at a cafe, sipping your favorite drink, and you feel calm because you're not worried about bills anymore. You check your phone. There's a message from your new client or from the person you've been waiting to hear from. You feel joy, certainty, peace. You smile. Because in this world, your new world, it's already done. Neville said, "To be conscious of being poor while praying for riches is to be rewarded with that which you are conscious of being, namely, poverty." So this is not about asking. It's not about wishing. It's about embodying. You become the version of you who already has the thing, and the world has no choice but to conform. Why? Because you are the operant power. There is no one else. Let that sink in. Not your parents, not your boss, not even the universe as something outside of you. You are the universe. You are the awareness from which all things spring. And once you impress a new image on your subconscious, repeatedly, emotionally, and in the drowsy state before sleep, your 3D world has no choice but to bend. Now ask yourself, what have you been impressing on your subconscious every night? Have you been falling asleep, worrying about debt? Replaying that breakup? Obsessing over what hasn't happened yet? If so, it's not your fault. You were never taught this. But tonight, that all changes. Because tonight, you're going to reclaim the last 5 minutes before you sleep. You're going to stop feeding your subconscious with scarcity, fear, or frustration. And instead, you're going to plant a scene so rich, so emotionally alive, so real, that your subconscious begins to accept it as truth. And once it accepts it, your world must shift. Now, in just a few minutes, I'll guide you through the full SATS technique, step by step. We'll craft the perfect scene for your unique desire. We'll go over the 3 most common mistakes people make when doing SATS that actually slow down their manifestation. And I'll show you the exact script I used when I manifested a 5-figure opportunity in just 10 days. Yes, real money, real fast, no hustle, no marketing, just consciousness. But first, there's something you must understand about time. Because I know what some of you are thinking. Okay, this sounds amazing, but how long will it take to work? And here's the radical answer Neville gave us. Time is an illusion. Neville said, "The interval of time is not a delay, but a necessary part of the process of becoming." Translation: the time it takes for your desire to appear isn't about the universe dragging its feet. It's about you becoming the version of yourself who can receive it. SATS speeds that up, because SATS isn't about waiting. It's about being. You don't wait to become rich. You fall asleep as someone who already is. You don't wait to be loved. You enter SATS as someone who's already cherished. You don't beg for healing. You feel whole in the stillness of the night, and that feeling creates new cells, new patterns, new timelines. I want you to hear me clearly. This is not magic. It's not woo-woo. It's how you've been manifesting your entire life. You just weren't doing it consciously. Every heartbreak, every missed opportunity, every rejection that just happened, you were broadcasting a self-concept.
And the universe responded faithfully. But now, you're going to flip the script. You're going to stop reacting to life and start commanding it. Not through control, but through assumption. Because when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, not just once, but night after night, you shift your identity, and identity is destiny. So here's what's coming next. I'm going to walk you through the SATS routine I teach in my private mentoring program. No fluff, no filler. How to enter SATS in less than 3 minutes. How to choose the perfect implied scene. What to do if your mind resists or doubts it. And how to wake up the next morning aligned with your new reality. But before we get into that, I want you to do one thing right now. Pause this video, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, if I could wake up tomorrow and be the version of me I truly desire to be, who would that be? What does that version believe? How do they feel? What's already true for them? Because the SATS scene we're about to build needs to come from that version of you. And in just a moment, we're going to build that scene together. We're going to step into the subconscious with precision and plant the seed that will bloom into your new reality. But before we do, there's one more Neville secret almost nobody talks about. One that makes this process 10x more powerful. And it has to do with something Neville called revision. Now, before you skip over that word thinking it's just another form of positive thinking, stop. Because this one concept can erase the emotional charge of trauma, rewrite your past, and collapse time between where you are and where you want to be. Revision is not about pretending something didn't happen. It's about using your divine imagination to reshape the meaning of a past event, so your subconscious stops looping on pain and begins aligning with power. Neville said, "Change the past and you change the future." It sounds impossible until you realize that your subconscious doesn't know time. It only knows impressions. And if you revise a memory with deep emotion in SATs, your subconscious accepts the new version as real and adjusts your present to match it. Let me ask you something real. What moment from your past still stings? Was it the time someone said, "You're not good enough"? The moment they left and never came back? That job you didn't get? The money that never came? Tonight, you're going to revise it, not by ignoring it, but by reimagining it. In your SATs scene, you'll revisit that moment. You're not changing the world by force. You're changing your inner world, and the outer world follows like a shadow. I've seen this technique turn people's lives around in weeks. A woman in our community used revision every night to rewrite a betrayal that haunted her for years. Within a month, not only did she stop attracting emotionally unavailable partners, she reunited with the very person who hurt her. And this time, he showed up different, because she was different. Another man revised a layoff into a promotion, and less than 2 weeks later, he received an out-of-the-blue offer at a better company with double the pay. Coincidence? Or consciousness? Neville would say, you can never manifest what you are not conscious of being. Now, let's begin crafting your SATs experience. Here's what you need. A quiet space, free of distractions. No screens for at least 15 minutes before sleep. Let your brain slip into theta. Optional: dim lights, soft music, incense. Whatever helps you surrender. Once you're lying down, close your eyes. Let your breathing slow. Let your body get heavy. You're not trying to force anything. You're slipping. And when you reach that floaty twilight feeling, that's your cue. Now you begin the scene. But here's the rule. It must be short, repeatable, and emotionally rich. Think of it like a 5-second movie clip that implies your desire is already real. Let's say your desire is financial abundance. Your scene could be, you open your email, subject line, payment received. You smile. Relief floods your chest. Gratitude tingles in your belly. You whisper, "It's done." That's it. You don't complicate it. You loop that scene over and over until you drift into sleep. Why? Because in that moment, your subconscious is a blank canvas, and every feeling you paint onto it becomes part of your waking reality. Now, some of you are thinking, but what if I can't feel it? What if I fall asleep before finishing the scene? What if I feel like I'm faking it? That's okay. This is not about perfection. It's about consistency. Neville said, feeling is the secret. But feeling doesn't mean fireworks. It means resonance. Even a subtle shift in state, from worry to calm, from lack to gratitude, means it's working. And if you fall asleep while looping the scene, even better. That's exactly what you want, because sleep is the delivery system. The scene plays on loop in your subconscious all night. That's when the roots grow deep. So don't worry about doing it perfectly. Worry about doing it persistently. Because you've assumed the version of reality where they're already yours, and your subconscious doesn't argue, it just obeys. So what's next? Next, I'll guide you through the most powerful SAT script I've ever written, one that taps directly into the heart of your subconscious and helps you lock in your desire faster than you've ever experienced before. We'll talk about the exact phrases to whisper as you drift off, how to anchor the scene with physical sensation, the role of inner conversations and why they are silently scripting your future, and a Neville-based hack to instantly shift your emotional state when fear creeps in. But before we dive into all that, there's one last trap we need to talk about. A trap almost every manifestor falls into, even when they're doing everything right. It has to do with doubt, but not in the way you think. It's the hidden form of doubt that disguises itself as logic, realism, or self-protection. And until you spot it, it will cancel out your work every single night. So in the next section, I'm going to reveal exactly what that hidden doubt is, how to dissolve it in under 60 seconds, and how to fortify your state so you become untouchable by fear, delay, or outside opinion. But first, so let's talk about this hidden doubt. It's not the loud kind. It doesn't scream, "This won't work." It whispers. It says things like, "What if this is just wishful thinking? Maybe other people can manifest fast, but not me. I'll believe it when I see it." That last one, that's the most dangerous. Because "I'll believe it when I see it" is the exact opposite of how reality creation works. Neville said, "You must believe it and see it in your imagination first. Then the outer world reflects it." The 3D world is not proof, it's a shadow. And when you chase shadows instead of casting new ones from within, you stay trapped in delay. So how do you dissolve this sneaky doubt? You don't argue with it. You don't fight it. You don't try to suppress it. You outfeel it. Because doubt only lives in the mind, not the body. When you drop into feeling, real, felt emotion, doubt dissolves like mist under sunlight. Here's a quick process Neville never spelled out, but his teachings pointed to it again and again. Close your eyes. Drop your attention into your chest. Recall a moment you felt certainty. It doesn't matter what it was about. Maybe it was the moment you knew someone loved you, or when you knew you'd ace that interview. Feel that certainty in your chest. Let it grow. Anchor it. Now overlay that certainty onto your current desire. Neville said, "You rise to a higher level of being by assuming that you already are what you want to be." And this is why your manifestation hasn't arrived yet. You're trying to attract something while still identifying as someone who doesn't have it. That's like dressing up as a doctor, walking into a hospital, and wondering why nobody gives you a scalpel. You have to be it first. So here's what you're going to do, starting tonight. Step 1. Write down your dominant desire. Let's say it's, "I want to be financially free." Step 2. Ask, "Who would I be if that were already true?" Be specific, not just rich. Who are you emotionally? How do you walk into a room? What do you say no to now? How do people respond to you? Step 3. Boil that identity down into a simple "I am" statement. Example, "I am a calm, confident magnet for abundance." Step 4. Go into SATs with that identity already assumed. Feel it, loop it, breathe it into your subconscious. This is not a trick. It's not a manifestation hack. It's how the subconscious speaks, not in future tense, but in present emotion. Let me tell you about Marcus. He followed Neville for years, read the books, did the techniques. Nothing changed. Until one night, he realized something. He wasn't trying to manifest money. He was trying to prove he was worthy of it. See the difference? That small fracture in identity kept him stuck, because deep down, he didn't believe the version of him who had money was real. So he shifted. He stopped trying to get money. He started assuming, I am the kind of person who is always supported. He looped that identity in Sats, over and over. Within 3 weeks, a check showed up in the mail, money he was never expecting. Not because of magic, but because reality always reflects your state. This is the part people miss. You don't turn manifestation on when you do Sats. You're manifesting all day long. Sats just lets you do it consciously. Every complaint, a manifestation. Every fear you loop in your head, a blueprint for your future. Every "this always happens to me" phrase you say with frustration, that's a command to your subconscious. But guess what? You can replace them. Tonight. You can override decades of unconscious scripting in 1 week of consistent inner work. Neville said, dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. Dare. That's the missing piece. You have to stop trying to deserve your new reality and start daring to claim it. So let's recap what we've unlocked. Caked. You must assume the identity of the version of you who already has the thing. And once you do, the world has no choice but to conform. You are not hoping anymore. You are not begging. You're embodying. And that, my friend, is power. Now, in the next section, I'm going to give you SatSet, my personal Sat script I've used to manifest not just things, but transformations. A Neville-inspired sleep affirmation formula you can loop for the next 7 nights, and one final state lock-in technique, so you wake up in the morning fully aligned, not back in the old identity. But before we get there, there's something I need you to understand. Something Neville hinted at again and again, but few people ever grasp fully. It's the difference between imagining and assuming. And if you don't get this, even your most beautiful Sat scenes can fall flat. So here's the question almost everyone overlooks. Imagination is not enough. You can visualize the perfect scene, loop it in Sats every night, even feel excited about it. But if you wake up in the morning and go back to thinking like the old self, reacting like the old self, worrying like the old self, you're still imagining, not assuming. Imagination is what you see. Assumption is what you are. Neville made this painfully clear. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to live in the end. You cannot simply visit your new reality in your mind like a vacation. You have to move in. Unpack your bags, decorate the walls, answer the door as if you live there now. That's what makes the difference. That's when reality bends. Let's talk about the morning after. This is where most people lose the magic. You do Sess, you feel amazing, you fall asleep in the wish fulfilled, and then you wake up and check your phone. You see that bill still unpaid, the message never came, the world looks unchanged, and doubt comes roaring back. This is the test. Neville said, persist in the assumption, even when the outer world denies it. So here's what you do every morning to lock it in. Before opening your eyes, ask yourself, who am I now? Then repeat this. I remember when I used to worry about that, but now everything flows. I live in the version of me where it already worked out. Feel it even if it's subtle. Get out of bed like someone who already lives that version of life. That's assumption. And every time you do it, you widen the doorway between the seen and unseen. you collapse time. Before you drift off tonight, I want you to loop this simple phrase in your mind. It's done, it's mine. I remember when I used to want this. Short, powerful, identity-based. Why does it work? Because you're not affirming from lack, you're speaking as if it already happened. It's the language of the fulfilled self, the version of you who... And watch how fast your world begins to shift. Neville never promised you'd get what you want if you just tried hard enough. He didn't teach hustle. He taught identity alchemy. He taught that you are the operant power, that there is no one to change but self, that reality is nothing more than a mirror reflecting your inner state, not your wishes, not your effort, your state. And the beautiful, humbling truth? You get to choose that state every single night before you sleep. You don't need permission. You don't need luck. You only need awareness and discipline. Awareness to realize what you've been unconsciously assuming. Discipline to replace it with a better assumption and to live there. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what is the new reality you're assuming tonight? Let this be your first declaration. Don't just write a wish. Write a truth. Write it as if it's already your world. Examples. I am now living a life of financial overflow. I am in a loving relationship that brings me peace. I wake up every morning feeling free, powerful, and secure. I am now fully living my purpose, and it supports me richly. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to justify it. Just own it. Remember, the moment you declare it, it begins. And when you see other comments, don't scroll past. Like them, support them, affirm them. We are not just viewers. We are a community of conscious creators, rewriting reality one assumption at a time. You're not here by accident. If this message found you, it's because your soul was ready to remember its power. You're not the version of you that struggles. You're not the version of you that settles. You are the I am. And the moment you assume a new state, your entire world reshapes to match it. People, places, opportunities, timelines, all shift. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped arguing with your own power. So tonight, before you close your eyes, step into the version of you who already has the thing. Loop the scene, feel the emotion, fall asleep with the knowing, it is done. And then watch what happens in the next 7 days. The money, the love, the message, the opportunity, or even better, the shift inside you that makes the outer world irrelevant. Because you are the source now. This is more than a technique. It's your return to truth. It's you becoming sovereign over your state. No longer begging. No longer reacting. Just being. So don't ask if it works. Decide that you work. You shift. You, the single word that anchors your state and makes manifestation magnetic. A 3-minute state stabilizer to use any time you fall into fear or doubt. And the #1 Neville principle that 99% of people misunderstand and how to fix it. But for now, take what you've learned, go into the silence, and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Because that's the bridge, that's the beginning, that's the key. Now it's your turn. What are you committing to tonight? Write it in the comments below. Let this be the beginning of your new timeline. I will read each and every one of them. And who knows, maybe next week, I'll feature your comment in our next video as living proof that this works.